Hi, and welcome to the webinar for the overview of the UW-Platteville Business School. My name is Les Hollingsworth, and I'm the director of the UW-Platteville School of Business. Tonight, we have a lot of faculty from each of our major areas here to introduce you to those programs and more importantly, talk about what those disciplines do for a living once you actually finish your college studies. Business is an exciting field. Ultimately, one of the things that we hang our hat on is that everything is a business, literally. Whether you work for an engineering firm, it's a business. If you work in retail, it's a business. Government and nonprofit are also businesses. And so the content that you're going to learn in the business school applies to a wide range of organizations. And the tools and techniques and practices that each of the faculty will share with you are all relevant to pretty much wherever you go. One of the awesome things about the School of Business at Platteville is that we also have innovative study abroad programs. We have partnerships with a wide range of institutions across the world. One of my personal favorites is in Germany that focuses on marketing. Where we actually put you around a table with students from France, from Russia, from South Africa, and of course, Germany, and a few other American students, and you work on an applied project for a German media technology company. So that's about as real as it gets. And that's kind of the focus that we like to bring to the table, and I think what makes us different at Platteville. So again, welcome. Thank you for your interest. I'm going to turn it over to the faculty now to introduce to you what their areas do. And we'll start with Professor Roger Kirkenbush with the accounting and finance area. Roger?
Hi, I'm Professor Roger Kirkenbush. I teach both accounting and finance here at UW-Platteville. And I think I'll just go alphabetically and talk about the accounting program first. So for our accounting program, in addition to getting a very fine accounting education, our curriculum meets the criteria which will qualify you to sit for the Certified Public Accountants or CPA exam. Many of our students do go into public accounting, at least initially in their career. There are a few students who will make a whole career out of it, but most folks who enter into public accounting eventually leave and go into industry. During that time when you're in public accounting, you typically would be something like an auditor. For instance, all of the stocks that are traded on the stock market have to have financial statements that are reviewed and audited by independent accountants. And that's the type of thing that a certified public accountant or CPA does. A CPA also is involved in preparing taxes. Usually you either specialize in taxes or you specialize in the auditing area. You would not typically find situations where you're doing both. And then finally, the third area of public accounting is in what I would call specialized financial consulting, where you're dealing with transactions that don't necessarily occur all the time. For instance, you might be helping a business go through a merger acquisition, and there are some complex things that come up regarding the accounting for those types of things. Similarly, there are a number of things that happen in the financial services industry that have complex accounting. There are a lot of investment vehicles that require very specialized accounting, things like futures and options and things like that. That's kind of the world of public accounting. In the world of industry, you would typically work just for a single company and you would be in charge of the accounting there. If you're in charge of a group of accountants, that's typically a position called a controller, and you're responsible for all the financial reporting of that company. And you can lead yourself or work your way up to what is called a chief financial officer, which is what we call a C level or E level type of position in the firm. And if you become the chief financial officer, you are not only responsible for all of the financial reporting, but you're responsible for all of the financing needs of the company. As far as finance is concerned, we have a program, a major in finance that leads to quite a number of rewarding careers. The careers that typically we see students come out with in our finance program, a lot of students go into either agricultural lending, which makes sense for this area, or commercial lending, or what's called community banking, where there are a number of small communities that rely heavily on their local bank, and you become a community banker working with the needs of not only individuals, but local businesses and things like that. As we've improved the finance curriculum over the last couple of years, we've also started to place students in a couple of different types of jobs. Recently, we've had a person be placed at US Bank, which is the 5th largest bank in the country, and they're doing financial analysis for that bank for different companies when those customers are looking for loans or other types of financing. Recently had another student be employed by Northern Trust, which is a very large firm in Chicago, which does all kinds of financial services, including investment banking. They're also doing financial analysis there. And then just a third example, a person is doing a lot of securities analysis for a company that specializes in employee stock ownership programs. And those are all things that came out of our finance degree. For both accounting and finance, the job prospects are outstanding. Accountants in particular have always been in demand here at UW-Platteville, and that's not ending anytime soon. We just had the Wisconsin Institute of CPAs here, and they told us that over the next few years, there's an expectation of 75% of existing CPAs to retire and leave the industry, leaving a large gap for folks to not only enter the industry, but perhaps move up more quickly. The Banking Association in Wisconsin has also told us something similar about finance professionals. And so there could be similar opportunities there, especially in the areas of personal financial planning. That's my broad overview of accounting and finance in 5-minute increment.
Awesome. Thanks, Roger. All right. Next on the list is Professor Mary Bartling with Supply Chain Management.
Thank you, Les. Yes, I am in charge of the supply chain management classes here at Platteville. We do a really good job, I think, of getting students prepared for the world of supply chain. And with that note, we live in a society that is full of different types of supply chain. Oftentimes, students think that supply chains just exist in manufacturing, but they really exist all over. Could be in healthcare, it could be in retail. All has some type of a supply chain with the goal of moving product from creation to the end customer in that product life cycle. It's a very hot field right now, and I'll use one word that makes it such, and that is the Amazon effect. Amazon has really led the way in terms of making this field a very popular field. They have also made it, very digitalized, and so other organizations are following Amazon's lead and really investing in technology. So it's a very current and updated field. All students that I have had conversations with since they've left Platteville enjoy the jobs, that they are in. The supply chain companies that will really do well are the ones that have high technology and have really digitalized their supply chain so that they can, meet that customer need, very quickly. And so that's a good thing. Some of the job duties that you might do in supply chain, it might be purchasing where you're buying a product to move along the supply chain. It might be in transportation and shipping, where you're working for a company that ships product for other companies. It might be an inventory management where you're managing a stock of materials, or even in warehousing where you're actually housing product before it goes out to the customer. And those are just a few examples of jobs that you might be responsible for. And these are growth jobs. You might start in a position, and because of the nature of the field, and I want to say the way we prepare you at UW-Platteville, you can move up very quickly into higher levels of responsibility. Some of the jobs that you might be looking at could be a purchasing specialist. And basically, this person forecasts demand and then they procure goods to meet that demand for the organization. You might look at a supply chain analyst, and their job is to analyze the supply chain performance and develop strategies so they can improve the performance of the supply chain. Business process analysts, they analyze and improve current processes to make them perform better and more efficiently. Global shipping and transportation specialists. This part of the industry is just crying for students. Lots of opportunities in shipping, in transportation. You might be a customs broker, and this type of individual would actually manage the global shipments through U.S. Customs. You might, be located in one of our many ports in San Francisco, or maybe on the East Coast. You could be a strategic sourcing manager, and this particular person would find and select the suppliers that a company would use for product. Or quality, perhaps a quality control manager, and that person would monitor the quality of the parts that you're getting in, or even the services you're using along that supply chain. Another type of position might be a packaging specialist. We always forget about that we have a product, but we have to move it along the supply chain. And to do that, so that that product is in good quality when it goes to the customer, you have to actually package that. And so we have people in the supply chains that deal with just the packaging materials that are used to move product. Or you might be a data analyst. Or a data scientist, where you're analyzing all the data that we have out in industry and using that to make better decisions on managing that particular supply chain. So, the possibilities are endless. The opportunities are incredibly great. And as I say, I think we do an excellent job at UW-Platteville to prepare students and give them a view of what it's really like out in the real world. We do have many professors, including myself, that have actually worked in industry and can bring that wealth of knowledge with them right to the classroom. And I really think that students really appreciate hearing, what is it like? What am I going to expect when I get out there in the real world? So that kind of in a nutshell gives you an idea of, the supply chain world, what to expect, what types of jobs are out there. And that's my statement for today.
I'll introduce Professor George Kruger with Marketing and Sales. Take it away, George.
Yes, and we can't sell from an empty wagon, so we need supply chain, and we also need money. So finance and accounting is very important as well. I'm going to share my screen here. You got that? Is that a yes? Okay. All right. So here at UW-Platteville, as we've been working on our marketing and sales, I'm going to quickly cover the BBA in sales first. We are the only school, by the way, in the university system that has a BBA in sales. And we prepare our students for a successful sales career. Now, that sales career can be field sales, it can be inside sales, it can be distributor sales or trade channel sales. And our purpose here is to have hands-on classes where you learn how to be successful in a sales career. Our students do internships. There's lots of sales events, and we do a lot of experiential learning. Here's where we kicked off for the fall semester here in the classroom. It's actually socially distanced and with masks, but we're still teaching our students how to sell. And we offer 2 sales classes to get our students so that when they go for their internship or when they go into their full-time employment, they know how to sell products. And we also have experiential out in the market here with American Marketing Association, where we'll have various sales professionals come in and talk to us. And so the students get a lot of hands-on experience with the sales and learn how to sell so that they hit the ground running. And our employers love this, by the way. They love it that the students have actual sales experience. And when they recruit for field sales or account sales, customer service, having sales experience really sets our students apart from, the ones that don't have sales experience, and also that they've really have had hands-on sales experience, because nothing, as the finance and accounting people will say, it's hard to have a bottom line without a top line. So we're out there driving the business with customers, and that's what our BBA is set up to do. We also have really a lot of hands-on here with our active learning classroom for both our marketing, sales, and I know supply chain teaches in some of these classes too. So you get a very hands-on experiential. This particular classroom has computer screens at every station. And it's really, the students absolutely love these type of hands-on classrooms that we have here. Now I'll spin into the integrated marketing BBA, and here's where we prepare students for successful careers in marketing. And we do a lot of client projects, lots of internships, broad array of classes. Careers in marketing include digital marketing. That's the hot area right now. Social media, display advertising, content, search. It's expanding 10 to 15% a year. The whole issues we've gone through in the last 6 months have accelerated this. So our digital program is really growing. Also, marketing does product management and marketing managers that actually do the advertising programs and creative. So there's tremendous number of opportunities here in marketing. And again, what we do here is we help our students learn how to deal with clients, and they go out and do real projects. So here's an example where the client was really happy with their deliverables that they did. They did a complete integrated marketing communications plan, and the client actually this is a Twitter feed that they sent out. Here shows our students, and you get real hands-on experience with doing client projects. We got a lot of marketing association activities here. There's a lot of opportunities for leadership, because marketing and sales is a lot about leadership, making things happen for our customers. And here's an example where these two, Alex and Grace, actually won a design contest at one of the regional conferences. If you're into sports marketing, we've got a relationship with the Dubuque Fighting Saints. So we go down there and we've actually listened to real professionals in marketing talk about what they do on a daily basis. And of course, for the job outlook, marketing and sales is very strong. Once the economy recovers, we're going to be projecting about a 10% growth for advertising, promotions, and marketing managers until 2026. And we also do a lot of work here with placement, helping with get internships and with careers. And as far as sales directors, product managers goes, we have real direct applications in here of our businesses here in the area that want to hire our grads. So and digital marketing is the hot area right now, along with professional sales. Real quick on internships, we do require internships for our students, and it really sets our students apart. And most interns receive job offers based off of their internships. And it really is a great experience and confidence builder. So I'll wrap up there with sales and marketing. Lots of great opportunities. And UW-Platteville has a lot of great BBAs here for you.
Awesome. Thanks, George. And the one thing you mentioned kind of briefly, the client-based projects, and showed some good examples. And I think that's a key piece of difference with Platteville, in that quite a few of our courses throughout the curriculum, regardless of which discipline area you're in. The emphasis is on working with real companies for real projects. You know, it's one thing to go through a program and do a bunch of hypothetical, what would you do type of scenarios. And that's good. That's certainly better than nothing. It's certainly an improvement over just learning straight out of a book. But few things get more real than having your real client, who is a real business owner, sitting in the classroom for your final presentation to critique what you did.
It gets their attention.
Yeah, it's an entirely different level and flavor of accountability and learning. And as I mentioned, we see this kind of sprinkled throughout quite a bit of the courses in the business school.
Les, George did a great job with his presentation there. One of the things he highlighted was the internships. Just to let everyone know, all of our majors in the business school require internships. And as Professor Kruger said, many of those internships lead to job offers.
Absolutely. All right. The next area I'll turn it over to Professor Marcia Har-Bailey with Management and Entrepreneurship.
Am I able to share my screen?
Yes, I have it enabled.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marcia Har-Bailey. I'm an associate professor. I teach entrepreneurship, and I'm also in the area of management. I'm going to tell you a little bit about both of those things today. First of all, I want to talk to you a little bit about entrepreneurship, and there's a lot of misunderstanding about what that word means, and it's changing a lot. There's a lot of change in the area of entrepreneurship right now. And in a nutshell, we like to think about it as developing something new, and it can come in a lot of different forms. A lot of people think of them as things related to small businesses and things of what we would normally see on a brick and mortar businesses on main streets. Family farms are included in that, nonprofit businesses and other nonprofit organizations and other types of organizations that serve people. We also have the transfer of knowledge from a research type setting into a commercial application. And we have a lot of that happening on our campus with our professors, and our students are able to get involved with undergraduate research. Even if you're not in that discipline, you can get involved in different ways. There's also tech-based entrepreneurship. This is obviously something that's growing a lot. Things like mobile applications, physical prototypes that become some sort of physical product. Lots of them are in relation to the Internet of Things, as Dr. Hollingsworth was talking about earlier. Obviously, lots of online platforms, things like what Mary Bartling was talking about earlier with the ERP systems, etc. We also are seeing a lot of these small businesses. There's a rapid increase in entrepreneurship because of the independent contractors that are working at places like Uber, for example. The number is going to be close to 50% in the next few years of entrepreneurs, of adults. So it's really growing. There are other things like Poshmark and Mercari that you can sell your used items and become your own kind of part-time entrepreneur, and selling things on Etsy and other online platforms like that, as well as reselling or private labeling things on platforms like Amazon. And then there's also a lot of service. I see a lot of my students, for example, in the ag area, where their farms are getting larger and they are more dependent on online platforms, online tags for their animals and things like that. and younger people are beginning to create service businesses to help older farmers. So it's happening in really every industry. And then just recently, we're seeing a lot more of podcasting. I've had students that are selling content, knowledge that they're creating and then selling to other people. Social media influencers, we've got several of those on our campus, and digital marketing like Professor Kruger was talking about. So that's just to let you know, that's all is included in entrepreneurship, and there's lots of ways to get involved. Just so you know, this week we are hosting a Women Entrepreneurship Week, and it gives you some insights into the types of events and activities that we do through the classes. Today I had 2 biomedical engineers that came to our class and talked about the different things that they have done. Tomorrow I'm going to have 2 alumni investors. All of these are women as well. And then Thursday, we're going to have 2 people that are very connected to the cooperative business model and learning about that, as well as learning how to innovate small businesses on Friday. So these are some of the topics that come up in our classes. There is an entrepreneurship and innovation minor that if you are a business student, it's even more accessible because some of the classes overlap. So it's really only an additional 15 credits. And some of the courses, there's a little bit of information here. There's a class that you can create your own individual business plan. There's a class about social business models that also meets social science gen ed. We have a class where you're working on with a team and you're creating your own tech product as part of a team. And then 2 of the other classes that we have do a lot of the same thing that other classes are doing related to client-based projects. And so in the new venture planning, we're typically helping plan things. And then in operations, we're helping them realize what those ideas are. So this gives you some insights into the types of classes that we offer. Related to the BBA and management, it is a very general, well-rounded major in the sense that it's helping you lead in any type of organization. Like Professor or Director Hollingsworth was saying earlier, business managing relates to every industry. So it's very useful and well-rounded major for you. Some things that are going to make our program unique are we're going to have a team dynamics class that's brand new. We're going to focus a lot on working in diverse teams and thinking about managing in different contexts, including in the international context. And the other electives that we have in that course or that program relate to all of the other BBA majors. And so you can do something related to marketing, you can do something related to supply chain. It's really open, and that's one thing that I really like about it. And finally, just to give you some insights on what we're doing moving forward, it's very exciting. We just received a grant that's going to bring over $1 million to help promote entrepreneurship in Southwest Wisconsin. That's going to be launching in 2021. And how that might impact you as a student is that we're going to be having a co-working space. There's going to be lots more opportunities for grants and other types of funding. And it was going to help plug you into mentor networks. There's going to be internships available. So there's lots to come for what we are calling the Idea Hub, which will be launching in 2021. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. And that's all I have about entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Thank you, Marcia. And I was super excited that you brought up the Idea Hub and that I guess enormous might be an appropriate word, enormous grant. certainly a huge opportunity for Platteville and the Platteville community. And I think one of the things that I find really cool about that grant is Platteville's unique configuration was a key piece of why, or key reason for why that came to us. You know, in that you know, we're rural, and so that creates a very unique context. On top of that, we have a robust business school and a very large engineering school, all in the same place, and those two pieces, when they come together, ultimately are a very, very good recipe for entrepreneurship and getting people thinking, sitting around a table, thinking up ideas and seeing what they might want to do. So, you know, I think I heard a statistic once that if you rounded up all of the Platteville students and put them in one room, over 40% of them like to build and tinker with stuff. And so that's a really good, and so we've got this substantial, on campus, we've got this substantial portion of builders, tinkerers, and I'm sure that's a really technical term. And right next door, you have a substantial group of students that know how to commercialize stuff. And you put those two together, and it's usually a very nice recipe for success. So really excited about that idea hub and how that could change or actually enhance what we're doing. So to close up the degree areas, I'm pinch hitting on the human resource management area. So this is our final degree in the business school. Human resource management is ultimately the main focus of that program is to help an organization maximize its people in various forms. So HR is actually a really wide field in that it covers recruitment and selection. So if you're looking at quite a few of our students go on and become corporate recruiters. So essentially they're charged with finding the next round of employees for their companies. Once you get those new employees into the company, they have to be trained and they have to be offered professional development opportunities that get them into their new role and prepare them for future roles. And we know that training and development is a key piece of keeping employees engaged and retained at their companies. So that is also a human resource management function. And then of course, we all love our jobs, but we don't do them for free. And so another critical function of HR is compensation and benefits. So some of our students will go into benefits and compensation administration. So helping to set payroll strategy, working in payroll, processing payroll. And then Roger mentioned that one of his students was working on employee stock option plans. You know, finance students calculate the monetary pieces of that, but human resource management personnel help decide how that gets deployed to people, to employees. And so that would be another key piece of this. I would say if I had to say that, if I had to identify a most common job of our human resource management graduates, human resource generalist would be one of them. And essentially, a generalist is kind of the first stop in a human resource career, where they might do a little bit of everything. And the fortunate, or actually the intentional way that our HR program has been designed is to prepare people for that role as generalists to start. You know, you'll get exposure to compensation and benefits, talent management, recruitment selection, but then you'll also get exposure to the compliance function. You know, every organization is going to have rules that they have to follow, and so employment law, labor relations is another key part of human resources. Within those particular courses, you will also, just as our other areas, get some exposure to client-based projects. In fact, the capstone in the human resource management degree is actually a client-based project where you work with the company to do what's called a human resources audit. You will look at one function of their organization, study it deeply, and make recommendations to that client. So that's the human resource area in a nutshell. And at this stage, I'll turn it over to Chris Kirkenbush and Nicole Ryan to see if they have any questions or things that you wish we would have talked about, but maybe didn't.
Before they start, there is one program I neglected to mention in accounting and finance, and that is we're currently in the process of getting a new program approved called forensic accounting, which we should have approval for shortly and begin offering it in the fall. But forensic accounting is essentially people who use specialized accounting knowledge to investigate financial crimes or frauds.
Well, thank you, everyone, for taking the time tonight. I also want to thank any viewers out there that are still with us and watching the whole video. And I hope everyone has a great night. Thank you so much. And as you can kind of see from the video, the faculty in the School of Business are reasonably not scary, approachable. They're welcoming, and certainly always helpful. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. We're certainly here to help you on your educational journey wherever you end up. Obviously, we prefer Platteville, but wherever you end up, we're happy to help. Thank you, and I hope you all take care. Bye-bye.